So today we are going to discuss about your open pit mining. So this is a mine where the haul roads are clearly visible. In the mines, in open pit mines, so this is the haul road, the white portion is the haul road on which the trucks move, the dumpers move. So these are called your haul roads. These are called your haul roads. Okay. So this is the bottom of the pit. This is the bottom of the pit. From the bottom of the pit, uh, you may be having water. In the bottom of the pit, maybe water is accumulated. Therefore, by the help of a pump, the water is evacuated from the mine. So this is the bottom of the pit, and the mining of the minerals is going on, and the mineral is transported by the help of a truck, by the help of a dumper uh, through this hull road, and this hull road goes to the surface, and these are called your benches. These are called your benches, and the road which leads from the upper bench to the lower bench is called the ramp. By the help of the ramp, you go from the upper bench to the lower bench. And the upper benches are having the overburden material, waste material, which are dumped in the waste dump. So this is one example of an open pit mine. So as I have told, the mineral deposits. This is the mineral deposit. This is a layer of minerals found. This is a mineral found in the earth crust. This is the mineral. This is your mineral or coal, and this mineral is overlain by the overburden material, rock material, soil material, and this is the configuration of the ore deposits, the mineral deposits, which is lying at a depth. So above the mineral deposit, you are having the overburden material, waste material, rock material, soil material, subsoil material, and this is the surface where the vegetation may grow. So you have to remove the surface vegetation. After that, you have to remove the overburden, rock and soil to reach the mineral deposit. After that, only you will get the mineral. So below the mineral, you are having underburden or floor, above which the mineral deposit is lying. So this is the layer of rock, layer of mineral uh, showing in this figure. So in mining, usually these are the commonly mined materials and their end uses. What type of material is mined and what is the use of those minerals is tabulated in this table. So coal, we mine the coal deposits for generating electricity, making iron and steel, manufacturing chemicals and other products. So the coal mining is carried out with a purpose to generate electricity, to make iron and steel, to manufacture chemicals and other products. Then we go for sand and gravel mining. We go for sand and gravel mining. These materials are used for building roads, homes, schools, offices, and factories. Sand and gravel is used for building roads, homes, schools, offices, factories. And we mine the iron ore. The iron ore. We mine the iron ore for what purpose? To produce steel products like kitchen utensils, automobiles, ships, and buildings. Iron ore is mined for making steel products, for kitchen utensils, for automobiles, for ships, and buildings. Similarly, bauxite mining. We mine the aluminum ore, bauxite mining, aluminum ore. And this aluminum is used for military aircraft, naval vessels, pots and pans, beverage cans. So that is why we go for aluminum mining, aluminum ore mining, bauxite mining. Similarly, copper mining, copper ore is mined, and this copper is used for electrical motors, generators, communications equipment, wiring, etc. And we also mine the silver ore, which is used for electric and electronics circuitry, coins, jewelry, photographic film. And we also mine the gold ore, and this gold is used for jewelry, satellites, sophisticated electronic circuits. And we go for zinc mining, lead and zinc mining. So zinc is used for die, die casting, galvanizing brass and bronze, protective coatings on steel, chemical compounds in rubber and paint. Then we go for lead mining, lead zinc mining. Lead mining. Lead is used for batteries, solder, electronic components. And we go for clay mining also. Clay mining. Clay is used for bricks, paper, paint, glass, pottery, linoleum, concrete, wallboard, shackling, spackling, and pencils and microwavable containers, vegetable oil. Then we go for gypsum mining. Gypsum is mined for making concrete, wallboard, spackling, caulking, potting soil. Then we go for phosphate mining. Phosphate is used for plant fertilizers. Phosphate is used for fertilizers, manures. And we go for salt mining. Salt mining for cooking, drinking water, plastic, highway, dye, icing, detergent. So these are the different type of minerals mined and their end uses given in this table. So we have already discussed about solution mining. We have already discussed about solution mining. What is solution mining? In the solution mining method of extraction, water is forced. Water is forced uh, under pressure into a cavity which forms in the underground salt bed. This is the underground salt bed, brine, rock salt. So in the solution mining method of extraction, water is forced. This is the river, and from this river, water is forced to this hole, to this cavity, and the brine is collected through this pipeline. Brine is collected through this pipeline. Okay. In the solution mining method of extraction, water is forced. Water is forced under pressure into a cavity which forms in the underground salt bed, and the salt dissolves. As the salt dissolves, so the water becomes brine when they come in contact with salt. Okay, this turns the water into brine containing about 30% salt. Containing about 30% salt. The saturated raw brine is soaked, taken to the surface, is pumped to the purification plant, where calcium, magnesium, and other impurities are removed prior to the evaporation process. So this is called your solution mining. This is called your solution mining. So this is the diagram which shows the solution mining. Water is forced with pressure to the underground cavity where rock salt is present. So whenever salt comes in contact with water, it becomes brine, and this brine is taken to the surface. From the brine, magnesium and calcium and other impurities are removed, and uh, we get the salt. So this is called their solution mining, salt mining. So this is a view of an underground mine. These are the, you must have read about underground mining. This is the road. This is the college road in the underground mine. It's a mine car, and these are the supports given. This is the gallery to which the mining is carried out. This is for underground mining. This is not open cast mining. Uh, so uh, this is underground mining again. So just I am showing the view of an underground mine. This is a loader in the underground mine. This is a loading machine in the underground mine. These are shaft structure in the underground mining. So you see here, this is a coal seam. This black one is the coal seam, which is lying at a depth in a hilly deposit. This is a hill. This is a hilly deposit, and this is a valley, and this is the coal deposit, flat deposit. So this is called a drift mining. You enter to the coal seam by driving a drift. This is a drift to which the coal is taken out. The illustration above shows a drift type of underground mine. It is also an underground mine. A mine opening is made at the same elevation as the seam. Coal seam and mining is conducted using typically either longwall mining or room and pillar mining with continuous mining equipment. Coal is transported to the surface by conveyor belts. This method of mining is used when the coal seam outcrops at the surface, or when a bench has to be constructed on a mountain side to mine the coal. Okay. So this is the shaft mining, underground mining. This is the coal seam. This is the vertical shaft we have to dig to enter to the mineral deposit and take it out. So the illustration shows a shaft type of underground mine. A mine opening is made by sinking a vertical shaft down to the elevation of the coal seam. Mining is conducted using typical either longwall mining or room and pillar mining with continuous mining equipment. Coal is transported to the surface by a ski hoist, by a cage, by a ski hoist, by a lift. So this is the most expensive type of underground mine to build and operate. This method of mining coal is usually utilized when the coal seam is deep below the surface. If the coal seam is lying at a very great depth, then you cannot go for surface mining. You have to go for underground mining. So this is called your shaft mining. And there is another type of mining is your slope mining, incline mining. So this is the surface, this is the incline to which you can enter to the coal deposit. Slope mining, inclined mining. The illustration above shows a slope type of underground mine. A mine opening is made by tunneling from the surface down to the elevation of the coal seam. Mining is conducted using typically either longwall mining or room and pillar mining with continuous mining equipment. Coal is transported to the surface by conveyor belts. So this method of mining coal is usually utilized when the coal seam is not far from the surface and the outcrop of the coal seam is not exposed. Okay, so uh, uh, those are some of the methods of mining we carry out. So if it is an open pit mine, then you have to go for reclamation. If after the mining is carried out, after the coal or mineral is taken out from the earth crust, you have to reclaim the land. Reclamation is to be carried out. As per the reclamation plans, which include many of the following concerns. You have to control the drainage control, preservation of the topsoil. You have to preserve the topsoil because the topsoil is the soil which contains fertile material, uh, which can grow, which can assist growing the trees. Preservation of topsoil, segregation of waste material, erosion and sediment control, solid waste disposal, control of fugitive dust, regrading and restoration of waste and mine areas. The plan must also consider the effects of mine subsidence, vibration induced by mining, processing, transport, or subsidence, and impact on surface water and groundwater. So these environmental items often dictate the economics of a plant mining operation and determine its viability. So after this surface mining is over, after you take out the mineral, so you should reclaim the land. So mine reclamation is to be carried out as per the reclamation plan. So what is to be done during reclamation? You have to control the drainage control. You have to preserve the topsoil, which will be sprayed on the reclaimed land so that new vegetation can grow. Then you have to segregate the waste material. You have to segregate the waste materials, rocks, and soil. You have to control the erosion and sediment, and you have to also look into solid waste disposal method, control of fugitive dust, the dust which is generated in the mine, how to control the fugitive dust, regrading of the land, and restoration of waste and mine areas. So the reclamation plan must also consider the effects of mine subsidence, if any, ground vibration induced by mining, processing, transport, or subsidence, and impact on the surface water and groundwater. So these are the environmental concerns you have to take into account while doing surface mining. These environmental items often dictate the economics of a plant mining operation and determine its viability. So these environmental parameters have to be taken care during mining and after mining, and the land is to be reclaimed as per the reclamation plan. So these are the waste materials dumped. These are the waste materials dumped on the surface, and these waste materials have to be labeled, and you have to plant new trees so that the ground surface is restored. And we have also discussed about the acid mine drainage. If the mineral deposit contains pyritic material, the pyritic maintaining deep acid mine drainage, originating in a large part to the metabolic activity of the thiobacillus ceruleus gas. So this bacterial microbe has been implicated as a major culprit in the pollution of streams emanating from active and abundant mining operations. Abiotic oxidation of pyrite is slow. So this peroxidant catalyzes the oxidation of FeS2. FeS2 is the pyrite, producing ferric ions and hydrogen ions. And this hydrogen ion, when comes in water, it, uh, uh, it reacts, and water becomes acidic in nature. sulfuric acid is generated from the mine tailings. So that is called your acid mine drainage. So as I have shown in the last class also, if there is acid mine drainage, means the water becomes red in color, becomes very acidic, red in color. So this is called your acid mine drainage water. So this is the scene of a mining, uh, open pit mining operation which is going on. So mining, particularly gold mining, is an increasing threat to the world's rainforest and to forest communities because in gold mining you are going to use the cyanide chemical, and that cyanide is very very dangerous. It can pollute the uh, water body. So whenever the rainwater comes in contact with cyanide, then the river water, the flowing water becomes dangerous, acidic, I mean, very carcinogenic in nature. So this is, uh, uh, if you see the different metals used in different uh, activities, aluminum, zinc, clay, steel, lead, copper, salt, coal, stone, sand, gravel, and cement. So uh, these are widely used in every community, in every country. Aluminum, zinc, clay, steel, lead, copper, salt, coal, stone, sand, gravel, cement. All these things are mined from the mining operation, and they are widely used in different parts of the country. So let us go to, this is a brief introduction to the um, mining activities which are carried out in your mining discipline. So let us go to another part of the presentation. Another part of the discussion will go uh, is wait. Uh, we'll go to another slide now. Let's wait. Okay. So this mining, uh, particularly open pit mining, before we discuss, uh, uh, we have to understand how it is being carried out. So, so that you can understand it better. Mm, wait. Just wait. I am looking into another's. Yes. So this open pit mining, we are much concerned about the open pit mining. So this is also another open pit mine. This is also another open pit mining. So these are the benches and these are the hull roads as I have shown you. So this conical shape, the open pit mines are conical shape, and these are the size of the dumpers. This is the size of the dumper used in open pit mining. This is the size of the dumper which is used in open pit mining. Okay, so this is the mining, a conical shape enter to the earth crust to take out the minerals. Okay, so in open pit mining, this is the bench. These are the benches formed in open pit mining. This is the truck, this is the dumper, this is the dumper, this is the access hull road. And these are the pit benches. These are the benches, and this is the pit bottom. This one is the pit bottom. Okay, so this is the layout of an open pit mine benches. This side there is no mineral, so this is uh, therefore the width of the bench is not necessary. No transportation. This side mining activities are carried out. So that is the wide benches are there. So this is the mine layout. These are the haul road, and these are the waste dumps. You see the dump material which is dumped outside the mine looks like a hill. It is looking like a hill. These are waste materials which are obtained from the mining. So this is the type of mining activity carried out in surface mines. So this open pit mining, here also you can see this is the open pit mining, how the benches are sloped, how the bench slope angle is designed so that they remain stable. So the open pit mining is also known as open cut mining, and also it is known as strip mining, which refers to a method of extracting rock or minerals from the earth by their removal from an open pit mine. Okay. So this is a very big open pit mine. You see the bigness. It is a very big open pit mine. These are the hull roads and these are the benches. Very big open pit mine. Okay. This is another open pit mine, and you see at the bottom of the pit water is accumulated. At the bottom of the pit the water is accumulated. So you have to go for continuous uh, uh, mm, pumping of the water so that the mine water can be removed from the mine so that you can go for mining. So this is also a view of an open pit mine. So the most of the time when the mining company is done with it, the pit is used as a landfill. After the mining is carried out, the land is to be filled up. A landfill is used as a dump to get rid of our garbage. When it is filled with garbage, it is covered over with layers of dirt. After the garbage rots a long time, the land can be used again for cultivation. Sometimes the crater is filled with water, a lake is born. So if you do not fill this depressed land with any other material, it will be occupied by water and it will look like a lake. So if you are not going to do the reclamation, then it will become a lake. Water will be accumulated in rainy season, and throughout the year you'll find water here. So this is the scene of an open pit mining. After mining is done, if you are not going to do reclamation, that depressed land will be filled up with water. Therefore, in open cast mining, there is a lot of environmental impact there. Environmental impact due to open pit mining. What are the impacts? The aesthetic beauty of the earth is destroyed. If you go for open cast mining, the beauty of the land is destroyed. Aesthetic beauty is destroyed because of the surface mining activity. Air quality is degraded. Quality of air in the mining area is degraded because of the dust and different type of pollutants. Water discharge and runoff is there in the open pit mines. Water discharge and runoff and water pollution takes place. And subsidence also take place in mining areas. Subsidence, the ground subsidence take place. And you dump a lot of tailings, which create acidic and heavy metals. A lot of tailings are discharged near the mining area, which ultimately becomes acidic in nature if they contain sulfur and pyrite. And also you throw some heavy metals to the environment. So these are the impacts, environmental impacts of surface mining activities. So how to minimize the impact? How to minimize the environmental impact of mining? If mining will cause quality deterioration of either surface water or groundwater, remedial and treatment measures must be developed to meet discharge standards. The mine plan must include all the technical measures necessary to handle all the environmental problems from initial data gathering to the mine closure and reclamation of the disturbed surface area. So, how to minimize the impact of environment due to mining activities? By doing these items, you can minimize the impact. If mining will cause quality deterioration of either surface water or groundwater, remedial and treatment measures must be developed. The water treatment plant to meet discharge standards so that the water can be drinkable. The mine plan must include all the technical measures necessary to handle all the environmental problems from initial data gathering to the mine closure phase and land reclamation of the disturbed surface area. So this is the way by which we can minimize the impact of environment, impact of mining on the environment. And you know that we have already discussed social impact of mining, economic implications. So whenever you go for mining, nearby some villages are there, nearby some people living. So you have to acquire their land for mining purpose. So these people, they have to vacate the land. You have to give them compensation. You have to give them separate place to live in. So that is called your social impact of mining. And economic implication means the people earlier they are using the land for the cultivation purpose. So if you are using the land for mining, so they will lose their cultivation. So their economic activities will be stopped. Therefore, you have to give them compensation, you have to give them house, you have to give them alternate place to go for cultivation. So the social and economic implication of mining includes minerals are non-renewable resources. We have discussed earlier, the minerals are exhaustive in nature. They are not infinity. Minerals are non-renewable. They cannot be renewed. Boom and bust of the mining process depends on the economic implication. Loss of tourism will be there if the land is used for mining activity. Depending on the location, companies could bypass reclamation requirements, cleaning soils of acids, heavy metals, and sulfur. So we have discussed in the earlier class, this is the bucket wheel excavator. Bucket wheel excavator is used for surface mining, lignite mining, soft coal mining, soft mineral mining like your lignite, and this is the wheel. This is the wheel which rotates in the anti-clockwise, and this wheel contains these buckets 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, etc. Number of buckets are attached to the wheel. So whenever the wheel moves in the anti-clockwise, this material is caught and collected by the help of these buckets, and it is discharged here in the discharge in the conveyor to be transported. So this is called a bucket wheel excavator. This is the bigger size of bucket wheel excavator, and this is the belt conveyor, and usually the belt conveyor discharges the material to a stacker. So by the help of this stacker, the material can be stacked. Okay. So this is the diagram of a bucket wheel excavator. Bucket wheel excavator. So this is open pit mining. Now will you have got enough, you have got enough knowledge introduction to the subject. Now we can discuss about this open cast mine planning and design. How to design the open cast mines, how to plan the open cast mines. Okay. So uh, this open cast mining planning and design is the most important part of your study. So this is the open pit mining we have seen earlier. So the what are the preliminary evaluation of a deposit? How to evaluate a deposit, whether you have to go for open pit mining or not. So the deposit, the mineral deposit is to be evaluated. Resources, grade, mining depth, mining ratio, grade of the deposit, mining depth, strata, thickness of the coal, thickness of the waste material, thickness of the interburden, quality of the coal you are going to mine, slope stability, study, water bearing capacity of the strata. So these are the deposit characteristic you have to study, evaluate before mining is carried out. Then you have to study the technical aspects like mining technology, what technology you are going to use, options and suggestions of equipment, surface, what are the surface constraints are there. Then you have to study the economic aspects of surface mining, production requirements, mine life requirements, logistics, roads, cash outflow, cash inflow, required rate of return, cut-off stripping ratio. All these things are evaluated before the mining is carried out. After that, conceptual mine plan is prepared, open pit layout is designed, equipment is purchased. Then modification of the concept is done and optimization is done. Then you prepare the pre-feasibility study. Pre-feasibility study is carried out. Then management has to take a decision whether to accept the detailed project report or not. No, if it is not accepted, then you have to go for new attempt. So this is the preliminary evaluation of the deposit. So these are the steps carried out in design of open cast mines. Steps required in design of open cast mines. What are the steps you need? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L. So these are the various steps. First stage is First step is study of the deposit exploration, grade of the deposit, study of a deposit exploration, grade of the geological uh, grade of the deposit. Then you have to decide the final pit limit. What should the final pit limit? What is the depth of mining? What is the area of mining, extension of mining? Then you have to carry out the development sequence, remove the overburden to reach the mineral deposit. Then you have to design the access ramps and hull roads. After that, you have to design the pit design, bench design. Then annual production capacity is to be calculated. System availability, mining machinery is available or not. Mining technology to be followed, whether shovel dumper mining or dragline mining or bucket wheel excavator mining or ripper dozer mining. Mining technology is to be selected. Then you have to purchase the main mining equipments. Then you have to optimize dumping strategy and balancing. Then you have to calculate year-wise and stage-wise plans. You have to prepare year-wise and stage-wise plans. Then you will calculate the financial viability, capital and revenue generated from the mining. Coal washing is necessary or not is to be also seen. Then environmental stipulations are to be studied. So these are the steps needed in design of open cast mines. To design an open cast mines, these are the steps you have to follow. The first step is study of geological reserve on the deposit exploration. How much reserve is there? How much ore is there? Study of geological reserve on the deposit exploration. What is the extent of the deposit? What is the strike length? What is the deep and rise widths? Okay, this is the deposit characteristics. Then geology of the area, geological succession, sequence of beds, drilling, logging, number of seams present, sequence of coal seams, description of each coal seam. Then interseam partings, tone bands, structure, no number of faults, number of geological faults, number of geological throws, deep of the seam and bed. Then calculate the reserve quality wise, seam wise, depth wise reserve of the deposit based on block model, uh, graded stream model, and polygonal model. Then you have to calculate the overburden volume and stripping ratio is to be calculated sector wise, depth wise. Then you have to calculate the coal seam analysis, proximate analysis, and ultimate analysis of coal to find out the ash content, volatile matter content, moisture content of the coal, overburden strata, hardness, etc. Then drilling details, lithological study is to be carried out to know the type of material lying in the deposit. Physiography, climate and vegetation of the area, preliminary environment management plan information. All these things are to be studied during the first step, study of geological reserve and the deposit exploration. Then second step, you have to go to the second step, that is dimension of open pit field. Dimension means what is the depth, what is the extension, what is the area. The criteria for delineation of boundaries of an open cast project are right side boundary, usually in crop of the bottommost seam, lateral sides, usually by geological disturbances like faults, surface structures, features like nala, river, etc., or limitation of the strike length of the deposit. Then you have to study the deep side of the property, which depends on the economical stripping ratio in absence of natural constraints. Then you have to delineate the boundaries, delineate the surface mining boundary, quarry surface to be delineated based on the following stipulations, like vicinity of structures to the project. What are the structures available nearby the mine? Number of persons should be within the blasting zone. Number of person, no person should be within the blasting zone. So whenever you are carrying out the blasting, okay, nobody should be there in the blasting zone. Otherwise, they will meet accident. As per coal mines regulation 170, blasting zone is 300 meter. Within 300 meter, no structure should be there. No person should be available. Then only you can carry out the blasting. So no villages should be nearby the mine. As per DGMS circular, it is 500 meter. As per coal mines regulation, it is 300 meter. As per DGMS circular, it is 500 meter. Within 500 meter, there should not be any structure or there should not be any people near the mine while blasting is carried out. So whenever you go for blasting, the vibration, ground vibration takes place, which is measured in ppv, peak particle velocity. Maximum peak particle velocity should be 10 millimeter per second to be maintained as per DGMS Technical Circular number 7 of 1997. So however, by controlled blasting, low charge delay, muffling, etc., permission was given even up to a distance of 125 to 150 meters. Okay, so then you have to analyze the hull roads, hull analysis. What is the lead distance? What is the lift increase cost? Lead lift increase cost. Besides, mode of transport, dump limits available are dump area 100 meter from mine boundary, dump area 50 meter from internal access road, dump area 80 to 100 meter from mine infrastructure, overburden volume, final slope, everything is to be designed. Mineable reserve, various losses, scatter, barrier, etc., dilution factor, 0 to 1 meter against roof floor, maximum depth increases hull cost. If the depth increases, hull cost also increases by 30 to 40% of total cost at 1 to half kilometer depth. Then after that you have to estimate the coal, overburden and stripping ratio. Estimation of coal, overburden and stripping ratio. A problem. Rough assessment is given below. Assuming pit slopes are 45 degree, the quarry floor and quarry surface are delineated. Volume of coal and overburden is equal to average area into average depth. Let us let us say it is A, capital A. Then average area is equal to quarry surface area plus quarry floor area divided by 2. Average depth is minimum depth plus maximum depth divided by 2. That is the average depth. Okay. Then volume of coal will be quarry floor area into cumulative thickness of all coal seams, which is, let us say it is B, capital B. Coal in tons, volume of coal multiplied by specific gravity of coal, that will give you the coal in tons. Let us make it C, capital C. Overburden volume is coal plus overburden volume A, coal plus overburden volume A minus coal volume B minus D minus D. A, B, C. Let us make it D. This overburden volume is D. Overburden volume is D. Coal in tons is C. So stripping ratio is overburden volume D divided by coal in tons C. So for accurate stripping ratio, the volumes of overburden and coal are to be made seam-wise. So this is a problem. You can calculate. Assuming pit slopes of 45 degree, the quarry floor and quarry surface are delineated. Calculate the value of stripping ratio from the following available information. Suppose quarry surface area is 120 meters square, quarry floor area is 80 meters square, minimum depth of the quarry is 10 meter, maximum depth of the quarry is 70 meter. There are 3 coal seams of thickness 5 meter, 7 meter and 8 meter respectively. Specific gravity of coal is 1.4 tons per cubic meter. Another problem, calculate the break-even stripping ratio for the following conditions of working of an ore deposit. Underground mining cost per ton of ore for a particular type of ore body is 2. Open pit mining cost per ton of same ore is 0.30. Overburden removal cost per ton of waste is 0.35. These are the two problems. Problem 1 and problem 2 I have given. I'll send you the solution. I'll send you the, this is problem number 1. This is problem number 1. You take this assignment and calculate the value of stripping ratio from the available information. Okay. So if you are not able to solve it, then I'll send you the solution. I'll send the solution to you. Similarly, here is another problem, break-even stripping calculation. We have done earlier also. So calculate the break-even stripping ratio. These are the data given to you. So you solve yourself. If you are not able to solve, then I'll send you the solution to this problem. So the boundaries of open pit mining are formed of based on the economic stripping ratio. So the economic stripping ratio varies with average sales realization. That is, higher the quality of coal, higher the realization. Capital investment requirements, operating costs, also surface constraints. Projects are likely to be economically viable up to a maximum stripping ratio indicated against the grade of the coal. This is the grade of the coal A, P, D, C, and these are the stripping ratio 8, 9, 10, 12. So the third step, C, third step is development sequence. What is to be done in development sequence? In the development sequence, you have to open the deposit. Opening of the deposit by digging the access trench roads. You have to make the box cut to accommodate all the equipment. Mine phases depends on the shape of the property, progress of the bench, coal production schedules, overburden excavation schedules. So maximize inventory of coal in the initial years. Defer overburden stripping requirements as much as possible. Average stripping ratio versus natural stripping ratio. Income generated in the first 5 to 10 years, but not remote economics, will either make or break the project. Profits for in the future have practically no impact on the project net present value. Each successive phase will be less profitable and the ultimate limit will be lost even after plowing in earlier profits. So then next step is D, design of access haul roads and ramps. Design of access haul roads and ramps. So the location of the access ramp is guided by the following parameters. Generally located at the minimum depth of incrop of the bottommost seam so as to reduce initial waste stripping unproductive work. Should facilitate maximizing of internal dumping and sectional working. Should be near the external dump, coal layer, mine service facilities. Main hull road up to the pit limit should be planned in the beginning only. Since hull costs constitute about more than 40% and tire cost about 10% of the total mining costs, priority for design, construction, and maintenance should be given. Gradient, width, drainage, curves, super elevation, base, shop base, type, and thickness of top dressing should be like that of national highways for heavy traffic. So the hull roads, what should be the width of the hull road? Width of the hull road should facilitate two-way traffic, dozer movement, formation of drain, lighting arrangement. Normal width should be 30 meter, but depends on the capacity of the dump. So what should be the width of the hull roads? Minimum 30 meter, but it can go up to 40 meter depending upon the capacity of the dumper you are using in the mine. And this hull road width contains two-way traffic. So, and the dozer should be able to move on the roadway. Formation of drains so that during rainy season water should be evacuated. Lighting arrangement should be there on the hull road. Then what should be the gradient of the hull road? It should be 1 in 16. For short ramp, it should be 1 in 10. Lesser number of curves should be there. There should not be many curves, otherwise overturning of the machine should take place. In flat seams of larger strike length, all roads can be formed over the floor of the seam. In steep seams, all road for coal and overburden benches can be planned along high wall slopes, say every 30 meters. This will also facilitate internal dumping. So this is the way by which you design the roads and the access camps. So in the uh, initial stage, you have to do the box cut opening, development of the mineral deposit. So this box cut will be discussed in the next class. In the next class, we will discuss what is a box cut, how the box cut is driven. So this is the development work you have to carry out to reach the mineral deposit. Box cut is the initial cut which is driven to reach the mineral deposit. So upon the mine. So for opening the mine, the opening cut is called the box cut. Somewhere you have to strike the ground to start your mining operations. The place where you cut the surface is called the box cut. So next class we will discuss about this box cut. Thank you. Thank you. Have a nice day. Thank you.
And
Thank you.
thank you, sir.
Thank